Good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning, and welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. My name is Ken Johnson, and I am your resident and happy all the time, a thrifty apprentice. I am so glad that you all have taken time out of your day to join me for this regular scheduled live. So today we're going to be playing around with our Utrecht artist gouache. Now, a couple days ago, there was a release over in the creation station level of Thrifty Apprentice Patreon community where we did the unboxing for this gouache. Now, I do think I'm going to take snippets of that live to put into the overall review video when I get around to doing it. But I'm not going to be doing the unboxing in its entirety here on YouTube. That was some behind the scene footage for Creation Station. Anywho, I will show you guys real quick though what came in the boxes. So here is the mixing set. It's 8 colors. The tubes are 14 milliliters a piece. This one had, wait a minute, let me make sure I didn't mix them up. I did. I did. So let me just turn it over. This one had a permanent white, a cad lemon, brilliant yellow, rose Tyron, flame red, turquoise blue, ultramarine blue, and ivory black. And that's the actual mixing set that comes with 8 tubes. And then this set was the 6 tube introductory set, and it came with permanent white, permanent yellow, permanent red, medium green, and primary. I'm sorry, I'm saying permanent. Primary yellow, primary red, medium green, primary blue, ivory black. So I did get a duplicate white and black, but that's okay because white and black happens to be the 2 colors of gouache I use the most. So it's really cool to have that. I took time in that video to pan them up so that they could dry down for today's painting. And this little sort of airtight tall wheel palette. I like it one because it has the little silicone cushion to help keep it airtight. And I like it too because the sides of the wheels go all the way up to the top. So it's completely flush against the lid when I close it. I like using these type of palettes for gouache, especially if the gouache has a tendency to break because these type of palettes will help hold them inside their individual wheels without allowing the paint to kind of jumble around in there and get mixed up with the other colors. You remember this palette because it's the same palette I use to pan up the Shinhan Professional Gouache, which sits on my desk on a very regular basis because I love it. So yes, that's what we have. So this is what we're using in our field test today. Now, I'll show you what we are painting. We are going to be painting something that's kind of simple but kind of complex at the same time. I've been doing a lot of these type of paintings lately. So we're going to be, I pulled this reference photo off of Unsplash. So this is what we're going to be painting, but it won't be silhouetted. We're going to change the lighting and the atmosphere. So we're just going to kind of be using the overall reference photo for ideas, but we're definitely going to change the lighting, the time of day, the brightness in the water so that it looks like a much brighter, more vibrant composition. So that's what we're going to do. Keep in mind, your reference photos are just that references. They're there to give you ideas and kind of maybe help you figure out a direction to go. All right. I am going to jump. Okay, well, let me show you. We're painting on Academy watercolor paper. This is, of course, the student grade to the Bohong Pure Cotton watercolor paper. But this is 100% cotton, acid free, cold press. It's 140 pounds. Really, really nice cotton paper. Really nice cotton paper. So I decided I would be painting big. Now, this block is 15 by 10. But I did kind of reduce the size of the painting that we're going to be tackling today, just a little bit. Once I transferred my um, once I transferred my sketch to my watercolor paper. All right, so I need to grab a palette. Let's go ahead and see if we can jump in and get some painting done. Guys, if you're already here, don't forget to sprinkle a little love. Hit that thumbs up on that video. Please feel free to go ahead and share. Maybe somebody else wants to jump over here and join us. Grab your paper, grab your paints. You can do this illustration in gouache. You can do it in watercolors, watercolor pencils. You can even do it in color pencils if you want to. It's just going to be very time consuming. So I would say reduce your size. Hopefully everybody's going to be able to see everything. Now in this composition, I'm going to show you guys the photo of the reference photo again. So it's sort of like nighttime. What is it called? Dusk. The sun is kind of going down, so you're sort of getting a silhouette evening. We're going to change it up. We're going to bring it back to being a bright day. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab, this is a pretty big area. So let's see, what am I going to paint with? I need a big brush. I like big brushes and I cannot lie. All right, I'm going to start out with this number 12 round synthetic squirrel. And I have been working diligently, my friends, on trying to get a brush released. Things have gone up so much. Things have gone up so much. But I'm still in the process of working on trying to get that brush release. Now, I have not swatched these paints. The only thing I have done is allowed them to dry down. So we are painting, kind of painting blind here, like I used to do in some of the other lives. So let's see. What were the blues? Let's see. I put them back in order in here, so at least they're in the proper order for when I make the swatching sheet. So I have a turquoise blue, primary blue. Is that and it's ultramarine? No, that's got to be primary blue. I had to put those two back in the wrong way. Nope, I didn't. That's primary blue. That's ultramarine. And that's turquoise blue. So let's go with primary. Interesting. Actually, I'm gonna grab a little ultramarine. Ooh, that reactivated really well. Right away, that reactivated really well. Gorgeous color. Want to get enough so that I can do. There aren't any clouds in the sky, so here's what we're going to do. We may put some clouds in the sky, but I'm going to start off with a flat wash of color first. So I need to get enough paint mixed here so that I don't have to stop for any type of remixing, because the arch enemy of a flat wash is to have to stop to grab more, to have to stop and grab and not have enough paint mixed out. And this is gouache. It should be, and from what I understand from other things that I've seen, that this gouache is pretty pigmented. So let's see if we can get, I'm going to tilt my paper up a little bit. Hopefully you guys will still be able to see. And I'm going to start with making sure that paper is taped down, that tape is down. And we're going to start with putting a bead of color across the top of our paper. And I did start that on the tape so I can make sure I get all the way up to it. And ever so slightly tilting my paper, I'm going to start my flat wash. Now the secret, if you don't know this, to a flat wash is to keep that bead of color on the end as you move down. Now I'm using a large brush. That way I can keep color in the brush, and it's going to help me keep my wash even. I'm trying to remember, where did I get this paper from? Did I get it off Amazon or did I order it off Temu? Because I'm going to tell you guys a secret about the papers that I've discovered about the papers on Temu. I think a lot of those papers are like what they call seconds. So although you may be buying a brand that you know to be good, there could still be some issues with it. Because I have a 5x7 pad of Bohong Academy paper, same exact paper as this. And depending on what sheet on that block I run across, there's some sizing issues on it. The first sheet, the one sheet will be perfectly fine. The next sheet will have some resisting going on as far as like uh, taking the paint is concerned. Now the thing about what I'm doing is by the time I get to the bottom, the top is going to pretty much be dry. So it may be hard to lift clouds out because I'm not really moving as quick as I should be moving. But this is how you achieve a flat wash in case you didn't know. Got those pencils on the brain at the moment. So it looks like I'm going to have to order the 20. Mm, mm, mm. Okay, now I'm in boycott. Now I'm in boycott mode. No. All right, let's bring it on down to my horizon. Trying to stay even above my line if I run into the water or whatever. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I have it up too high? My bad. Sorry. Didn't mean to. All right. So I don't think that that's wet enough for me to lift that cloud. We're gonna see. Yep. Nope. That's definitely dry. That's definitely dry. But as you can see, it's a flat sky anyway. Um, there's a little orange going across the bottom. That's still wet. So let's see if I can. Oh my goodness. Thrifty, you messed that up. You really did. You really did. Yeah, I can't. It's definitely dry. It dried super fast here in hot Texas. I should have known that. Oh well, maybe we'll go back and put some wash clouds in, or maybe I can scrub them out. Let's see if I can scrub some out. I don't really like to scrub them out. I prefer to lift them out in the beginning, but we're going to see. So I'm grabbing a um, nylon bristle brush. One is golden Teflon. One is just like white. They're sort of still feel a little bit soft. Let me see if I can find. I have a hard scrubber, but I really tried to retire it and not use it too much on my watercolor paper until I can order a soft scrubber. But let me see if I can put my hands on it. And of course, I'm not going to be able to simply because I'm looking for it. You guys know how that goes. And then the minute it, oh, there it is. Haha. Now, I don't know how this is going to work. I hope I don't damage this paper too much. Oh, okay. Well, So it's definitely a little staining. Yep, so that's not going to work. It's not going to work properly either. Interesting. Did I get this paper from Timu? Because Academy paper normally lives really well, or it could be the pigments that's in the actual gouache. Let's see here. Uh, PB15 Phthalo Blue. Well, there you go. That's why it's not going to live. All right, so I'm going to give that time to completely dry, and then I'm going to go back in and correct it a little bit, probably by adding some some white gouache into it, just to get some clouds. Um, but let's move on. And I'm gonna switch over to a smaller brush. I'm grabbing a number 8 round. Although this is a Nick Pro brush, and their number 8 head is smaller than other number 8s that I'm used to. It's sort of more like what I'm used to being like a number 6, right? Now this set does not have, well, neither of the sets had a brown. So let's see. Let's use the flame red. What? Let me see. What pigment is that? That is PR108. Okay, let's use flame red. We'll add a little of primary yellow to that. What I'm doing is not nearly enough. Let's mix up some more. Grab some more of that flame red. Because we need enough for our entire little base here. We can keep it light. We don't have to make it dark. You can make your wood whatever color you want to. I'm mixing in more primary yellow. We're going to take that over to orange. A little bit more. And then I'm going to mix in. If I have these in order, this is ultramarine. But I feel like they're out of order. But there we go. A nice sort of reddish brown tone. And I'm going to go ahead and paint in my area. Again, this is almost like trying to do a flat wash as well. But I'm painting wood here, so depending on what you're doing or what you're painting, you might not have to paint a flat wash. You might be okay with having texture. However you do it, just try to avoid hard edges. Keeping in mind that we are painting with gouache, the opaque watercolor, as they call it. This brush doesn't hold much water, as you can see, for it to be a quote unquote squirrel brush. And right now, everything is first layers. You guys know how I do it, so it's soft. All the color is soft. Nothing is going to be super saturated at this point. Should have checked to make sure that tape was stuck down before I started. Whatever. I'm not gonna let anything bother me anymore today, okay? Those pencils was enough. I'm just joking, just joking. All right. Um, I really want to try it. Ooh, I'm so upset about the clouds. You know what? Since I'm so upset about the clouds, we don't have clouds. Let's put since there is a blue cast there. Where's my pencil? We're gonna change some stuff up a little bit. We're gonna go completely rogue and whole hog. We got to make this painting look worth something. Bye, Nicole. So let's. Do we want it to look like it's far away? Yeah, we want them to look like they're a little farther down the brink, down. No. All right. Let's see here. I'm gonna grab that same little round brush I was just using, and this time we need to mix. I'm just mixing what was there for the mood. It doesn't matter. Bring a little of that blue over and grab a little of that primary blue. Yeah, and I'm gonna darken it with a touch of black. I do mean just a little bit. They're going kind of green. I want it to be a dark blue, a darker blue, cooler. That makes more sense. A cooler blue. All right. Excuse me for turning to the side, friends. This is a larger piece of paper that I'm used to working on, so I'm gonna make this work though. Let it taper off right there. And I'm still not really worried about whether I'm going over my horizon line or not because it's gonna end up being reflections in the water for that. So I'm basically just doing a scribbly, sort of like little mountain something, just because I feel like I need to add some more elements to the sky since I really couldn't get the clouds in there that I wanted. I'm going to add a little bit more black to that mixture, just a tiny bit more. And I will use black gouache. I just make sure I mix it into a lot of different colors. That way I don't have to worry about it being flat. And let's go back in here and put in, just kind of drop in some shadow maybe. Just let it do whatever it's going to do. It may even make it look like it's more than one layer of mountain, but it's definitely going to give some depth to the situation. All right. And there we go. Hmm. I might have to pull out the hair dryer. I didn't want to, but I might have to because I definitely don't want to keep you guys too long, and I want to get this painting done. It's not complicated at all. Well, it wasn't supposed to be complicated at all anyway. All right. I don't know. Definitely need to mix more brown, and this time I need to mix it. Maybe I should have done it the dark gray. I still can. I'm using that synthetic brush I was looking to scrub with. I'm about to try to mix up enough brown here that I'll be able to use and not have to remix. So I'm going with that flame red. I'm going to rinse that brush. Notice how little water this brush holds with the mixing that I'm doing. And then I'm going to grab yellow and mix that yellow in. And that's not quite orange enough, so I'm going to rinse again because I don't want to contaminate my yellow. All right, and then a little blue until we get it to brown. So I'm just going to add touches of blue at a time. There's too much blue and we're going to take it to a neutral black. So take your time with this. Get it to where you want it to be. So that's a pretty decent brown, but it's definitely not enough paint to really do anything with. I'm going to add a little water to that to make that wash a little bit bigger. Now in another wheel, I need to mix flame red. And this mixture I want much darker. So we'll be adding even more blue to this one. Mix in some yellow to take it to orange. That red is so bright and pretty. All right, and then rinse and mix in blue until I get it to a dark brown. Like that. Nice, 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 nice. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can see that where that mixture is definitely redder. That one has a red undertone, but it's not as red. Definitely a cooler, more neutralized brown. All right. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to grab, do I want to do it like that? Are we going to divide it into planks? I don't think we are. I think we're going to make it look like it's, because the boards look like they're running this way. So I'm going to grab that texture brush and I'm turning the paper to the side so I can pull my stroke towards me with this. And starting off with the lighter of the browns I mixed. This is going to run this way. And it's sort of at a weird perspective, a weird angle, should I say. Especially with the way I turn my paper, but that's okay. And I'm making sure that what's closest to me is done first because it's going to have the most detail. And then as it moves off from me, I might not be able to. I'm gonna make it as detailed as possible, but you might not see as much with those boards as you would with what's right up on you. And it's gonna be in a messy stage for a second. Don't worry, we're gonna pull it out. Right now, I just want to start getting texture down. And as it moves away from you, those lines will get smaller too, thinner. The texture wouldn't be as, you'd still be able to see it, but it wouldn't be as big and in your face as it is up front. All right. And then there's these little guys back here. Okay. Um, are we still here? Somebody type something in the chat and tell me we're still here because I think my internet may have dropped. I think we're still good. All right. So now I'm going to take the more saturated brown and run a few streaks of it in there. I know you guys are like thrifty. This doesn't look right. Trust the process. Trust the process. It's gonna work. All right. So now I'm gonna turn this back to the side. Let's see. Let's turn this back up right. And I'm gonna switch over to a small round. I'm gonna switch over to a small round Teflon brush. I'm gonna grab this. Where's that Christy Rice brush? Let's see. I'm trying to find my number two. Okay, I'll use this one. This is a number one. This is a De La Roni. De La Roni brush. Okay. I'm gonna get that mixed up inside the darker brown here. And it looks like the sunlight is going away. But oh, that's really dark. Take some of the water out of that. And I'm gonna start putting shadow back on my in order to get dimension. So we're just gonna put shadow in on the side rails there. Let's get it back over here. Okay. And then here. And what we're doing now is adding a dimension into the wood, bringing our bridge or our little dock area back out of what we just did. Let's put in the texture in. Like I told you, just hold on. It's gonna make its way back out. Hello, Busy Bee. Oh no, I'm using gouache. This entire painting is gonna be a gouache painting. But I use my gouache a little different from most people. I use it more like watercolor because I am, you know, primarily a watercolor artist, a mixed media artist that primarily uses watercolor. Let me say it like that. So when I paint with gouache, my first layers are watery. I'm kind of getting down my ideas, and then I start to build thicker layers of paint on top of that as I go. Yeah, trying to get that straight. For some reason, I can't. And anything that's close up, I want to try to have it as um, maybe perfect is the wrong word, but make it look as nice as I can. Say it like that. So I'm just using this really small round brush that barely holds any water. I mean, it will hold some, but barely. And all we're doing is increasing the saturation of the paint that would be on our dock where the sun would definitely be less relevant. And we're going to be putting even more shadow there as we build. We'll put some shadow in there. All right, let's get it time to work for a second and work on the water. We definitely want to bring the color from. It's gonna turn out okay. Does I haven't noticed does gouache chase the water as watercolor does? Oh, I see what you're saying. It will, depending on it will, as in wet in the wet. Yes, it'll move wet in the wet. I'm switching over to a flat brush because, as I suggest to you guys all the time, when it comes to painting your water, your land, rocks, things in natures, flat brushes are actually wonderful things. Now, due to the fact that I have I got to figure out which one of those blues I can actually lift. I'm gonna have to play around with it once I swatch. Keep in mind, I have not swatched these paints out yet. So I'm actually gonna wet my paper here up to my horizon. And you don't have to wet your paper. I like to wet my paper when I'm painting water. That's just like a personal thing, but you don't have to, okay? And this paper seems to stay wet. I must have got this paper from Amazon because this doesn't seem to act like that Timu paper at all. Yeah, I think I've made the decision that the only thing I'm going to be ordering from Timu moving forward will be like the empty pallets. I love the empty pallets that I get from them. Like all of these little type of pallets and things, like I love all of those. They're all in good condition. They all work as intended. But art supplies from Timu, my friends, are very, very hit and miss. Some of them are okay quality for the price that you pay. But I've noticed that anything that is of a name brand that I'm used to, that I order off of Temu, it seems to be like major differences between it and the actual brand. If you was to buy that brand from like its site or like off Amazon or something. So yeah. All right, that's gonna help our paint move a little bit better. Let's grab some of our sky color. That's where we're gonna start. And we are putting in water. Again, look how easy this is with a flat brush. You're using the chisel part of that brush, and it just moves water into place. I mean, just moves it into place. It's actually a little ridiculous at how easy painting water can be using a flat brush. I'm really not trying too hard to do anything here. Oh, I went over my brown there. Let's see if I can lift that out right quick. I went over my bridge. I don't want to get that blue mixed in. I'm not trying to darken that area. Paper does absorb the water and dry pretty fast. So now I have some Bohong professional paper that I really need to go ahead and crack open and use it because I typically grab the Academy, and I really do want to test out that Bohong professional paper. But the thing is, I got it from Temu, so now Mary Ann said she likes the sketchbook that we made her inside the creation station, and that sketchbook was bound with that Academy or that Bohong hot press paper. All right, let's throw in. I'm gonna grab just the primary blue on its own. Get some of it mixed out here on my palette. And I'm gonna go ahead and start dropping it in towards our horizon line. I don't know what's going on with my tablet or if it's my internet or what it is. Yeah, I love the ephemera. Eleanor, I love the ephemera. It works well, but the art supplies are so hit and miss. Now I'm just adding darker blue so we can have some underlining shadows in that water. This is gouache, so I'll be putting another layer on. And I'm literally just putting straight strokes across, making sure that I continue to allow some of my original blue to show. I'm not, again, not super worried about anything right now. Not super worried about the way anything looks right now. I'm just trying to get down layers. Let's see, that's gonna be darker than I want it. So I'm gonna rinse my brush, pull water out of it. Okay, well, I'll let that dry. And then we'll be doing, I am going to have to pull out the hair dryer though, so that I don't keep you guys here all day. I didn't really think it through when I grabbed this big block to paint on. But while we're getting that time to kind of do this thing, let's go ahead and do a little bit more to our dock. I'm going to go back over to that very small synthetic round that I was using and go back and add just a teeny bit of water to that. And let's see. It's going to run parallel here. And I'm just kind of looking back and forth between what I'm doing in my reference photo. Although the reference photo again, a lot of it is kind of in shadow. So I'm kind of making a lot of this up as I go. A lot of it is in shadow. Trying to keep my hand out the way, out the painting, and keep moving. That wasn't the straightest line, was it? Not quite sure how that happened, so let's block that off. I made a boo-boo right there. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I definitely did. Right, let's do. I'm trying to decide if I want more color in there, like a yellow. Maybe not. Don't need to introduce nothing new at the moment. So let's keep it like it is. We won't introduce a new color in. Now you can see once that dried, how that started to kind of put a wood grain texture on that. That's what I meant. Like just give it time. Once everything starts to settle, it starts to look better as it dries. I've never really ordered much off of Alley Busy. Um, can I call you B? I've never ordered much off of AliExpress. And I'm not even quite sure how I got caught up in the whole Temu of it all either, if the truth be told. Because I typically didn't order from sites like that. And ordered from I have ordered from Ali, just not a lot at all. I'm trying to see now. Are these individual boards? Yeah, dude. Like these are massive individual boards. Okay, and then that's fine. I'll put white there to open that back up. I should have taken a better look at that. Because see, there is a space between because all of this. Okay, so let's reevaluate some things here. I want to put this, then let's put it in shadow, but it should be darker. I don't want to put it in shadow. but I do want to make it a little darker back here. And since I did that, let me do this. Now keep in mind that this brush will not hold a lot of water on it. And I'm literally taking a darker color and zigzagging so that it'll make some kind of weird darker spots in the wood once we start to divide the boards off, which will be in just a moment. I did that because I added that color in across the top at the back, and I want to keep it consistent. And I know that all of this may seem like useless, but all of these little techniques where you're keeping consistency, you're keeping color harmony, you're keeping the directional painting going, all of this makes a very big difference in the overall outcome of your painting. Especially when you keep in mind that we are using gouache and not watercolors. It's okay. Because as it dries, it's gonna just add more text of a more textured appearance. All right. What I want to do is divide this up now because those are individual boards. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. I do not have the straightest, I do not draw the straightest line at all. Ooh, so y'all wish me luck on this. Maybe I need to be smart and use my pencil in a T square. That's what I feel like I need to do. I feel like I need to be smart. So I'm going to grab a pencil and a T square because I want to try to keep some straight boards here. The thing is keeping them consistently spaced apart. I'm going to make them bigger. Uh, let's see. Then they appear just for the sake of making them bigger than they appear. I love a good T-square. They come in so handy. I'm gonna have the boards bigger up front and then they'll get thinner as they move backwards maybe. But yes, there is nothing like a good T-square to help keep you in order. Mm-hmm. They're approximately spaced out the same. I'm hoping that that works. I'm not quite sure how that board's supposed to go, but we're gonna pretend that's gonna work. Cool, B is fine, thank you. It reminds me of I love nature and animals and bees, insects. I just like it, like the name. Now the thing is, they really should get thinner in here, so I'm gonna see if I can kind of cut them in half here. Hopefully, this is gonna be even. It's not. It's okay. It'll work. It'll work. It'll work. It'll work. It'll work. It's gonna work. It's gonna work. That's terrible. Kenyatta. Uh, why'd you do that? Yeah, I call myself by my whole name when I get upset with myself. You know, I pull my mama on myself. Kenyatta LeVar, get in here. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna really be building a bridge today, but we are building us a bridge. All right, Virginia. I hope you have a great day, okay? Thank you so much for stopping in. We'll be right back here next Monday. Well, maybe, because I really do need to try to set up a doctor's appointment. But we'll be here. We will be. Okay. I think I actually kind of like the graphite on that, like it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even necessarily being funny. I really do like the graphite. Okay, let's. Yeah, from all the warping in the water, I'm assuming, huh? All right, let's see. I'm gonna get concentrated, and what I'll do is I'm only going to, for right now, put in the ones that I'm sure I want in there, because the ones that I don't darken up won't necessarily look like a plank. It'll just kind of fade into the background and look like texture. Hello, view. Welcome in, my friend. Just good to see y'all. It's just good to see y'all. See y'all. Tisa, are you still in Croatia? Or are you back? And did you try that paper? What did you think of it? I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Um, Tisa has been in Croatia recently and happened to run across the same paper that I was trying out last Monday's live. Let's see if I can put my hands on some of it real quick. Do I have that sketchbook handy? I normally do. Of course, I wouldn't right now just because I'm trying to show it to you. Okay, here we go. This paper, I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Now I'm torn between that and whether I like that more or like New York Central more. I'm gonna have to mix up some more. Other darker brown. So it's definitely a mixing set because there is no brown. All these brown and red brown shades you're seeing, we mix those right here with each other. This brush comes to a pretty decent point. This is a Daleroni brush. This is actually a Daleroni graduate brush at that. So it's from their Scholastic line of brushes. As I was telling you guys earlier, I'm still working on trying to get it seamless wash like. What does you gonna get it on the weekend? Thrifty, have you tried any of White Knight paints? Yes, absolutely. Love them. Yes, yes, yes. Love them, love them, love them. They are White Knight is of course a Russian professional, well, a Russian brand. They produce a lot of different products, including a professional line of watercolors. Um, White Knight is actually on the more affordable end when it comes to professional watercolors. They offer their watercolors in both tubes and pans, which I've had the chance to experience, test, and review both pans and tubes. I believe that the formula across their pans and tubes is the same. Um, and from what I mean, they're great paints. I've actually been selling some of them lately in the Palm Street Live from the curated sets that I've put together. Now, depending on the pigment used in whichever one of them it is, you're going to get different characteristics with the paints. They lift, if from what I remember, they lift pretty well. Um, but depending on whether you have the pan or the tubes, I will tell you this. Although I think the formula is the same, I think that the tubes, once they dry, the saturation shifts more than the pans. And I don't understand exactly why, but I feel, in my opinion, that's the truth. Now, you all may remember, let me get this planking. Um, I was about to show you something, View. Give me just a second. Because I do want to try to get as much as this painting completed or get it to a point of completion where I'm like, okay, guys, there's a good little gouache painting. Um, um, Based off a recommendation from Lindsay, the Frugal Crafter. Actually, this was like 5, 6 years ago. I was asking her what would be a great, like beginner starting point for professional watercolors. And she made the suggestion of White Knights. So I think that was like my very first one. Now, I'm not going to try to take out any of the pencil lines that I put in there that I might not need, but I am going to try to add in lines that I didn't put in that I might not need. I really regret the way that ended up looking on this end, but it kind of is what it is. Let me leave it alone before I make it worse. I'm not sure what's going on, if it's my internet or what, but every time I look over at the tablet, the chat has gone away. If you say you feel all fancy now, yes, ma'am. Have some nice paints. You have some nice paints, sis. You really, really do. Really nice paints. Um, I would put them on the same level of, let's see, Paul Rubens. Um, Definitely Paul Rubens as far as both price and quality goes. Now they have several sets. They used to have a set called Yorka. I haven't seen those in a while, but they do make the Yorka paint set as well, which is basically pretty much the same. I think they had like different names based on, they had a different name for it based on the market or something. Can't remember what the story was. It's been years and years ago since I reviewed those paints. I mean, more than four, possibly five or six, honestly. 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not being too concerned with how dark each one is as I go further back. I am just trying to make sure that you can definitely see that there's some definition in some of the planks back there. Yeah, yeah, about the same level as Paul Rubens, in my opinion. Um, or about the same level of Paul Rubens, like their original release, their original set. Now, this latest Paul Rubens release that Yulon said, man, them paints rock, dude. Those paints are amazing. I know those Paul Rubens stepped up their game. But I've noticed it about Paul Rubens. Like every single time they release a new rendition of their professional paints, they're working constantly to improve it. It's like every single rendition has been better than the previous one. Because their fourth release, their series, ooh, those paints were terrible. That's just my opinion. All right. I have a couple of lines in there that I didn't darken, but I don't think you can really tell too much. Let's go ahead and put some. Actually, I do want to add a darker strip up here, right on the tape, which is really not going to matter because you guys know I outline my painting uh, with black pens. But I think this is more just like a self-conscious thing to know that it was actually done, not something that necessarily has to happen because I'm going to cover it up pretty much. And I'm not even really trying to be too careful with it, as you can see. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself with these paintings, friends. Everything is not meant to be a masterpiece. Something is literally meant to be a learning experience. Okay? Don't put pressure on yourself. When something doesn't come out right, perfect, the way you wanted it in your head, that's okay. It's fine. You know, I want to darken up even more back here. Actually, I want to mix again, and I'm actually going to start mixing more of a shadow color now. And then we're going to move and put some more detail into that water. I was trying to give my blue time to dry up a little bit because we're actually going to draw in waves in that water. It already looks like some mountains were starting to reflect in the background just from the bleeding that the wet into wet wash did. So, um, not too terrible. But I definitely want to darken the wood on the bottom part of the dock up more because of course it's in the water. That water would be soaking up into the wood because it's wood, so it would be darker because it's wet. And those are the type of things that I want to keep in mind because I'm not going directly from the reference photo. And at some point, we also need to put the little grass blades that's coming up out the waters here towards the foreground of the dot. So let's see. What was I doing? Oh, mixing a darker. Let me get the brush I was mixing with back out. Just because it holds so little water. And flats naturally hold less water than rounds. Just in case you didn't know that. Flats naturally hold less water than rounds, which is why you'll typically see me using a flat for watercolor crayons and things of that nature. Let's grab more of this red. We're going to mix right here in the same wheel since we're out of that color anyway. And even if I over mix at this point, I don't care because I'm going to be using this paint for a couple of other paintings before a review is done. I'm possibly going to use these paints tonight inside the creation station. Let's throw some wave, some dimension in our water. I'm going to grab the flat brush, rinse it to make sure that it's clean. I'm going to blot it to make sure so that there's no water. Keep in mind, I am using synthetic swirl brushes, and then I'm going to go directly into that blue I already had mixed out on the palette. We'll start in the back, and we are going to just zigzag some waves in here. Nothing has to be too dramatic because we're gonna go back and put in some darker ones. Kind of go across the back here. And I'm not going to worry about putting them right up to the mountain line because the mountain line is where we'll have our darker ones because we are going to have shadow. Okay. I'm trying to stay parallel with my paper here, although the dock is running at an angle. So this actually probably would be a little difficult for a brand new painter to paint just based on perspective, but never give up. As I told you guys earlier, you don't make mistakes. You have learning experiences, right? And a learning experience is much better for you than a perfect painting. Because if you painted it perfect, that means you can do it. You learn to grow by having to tackle things that you may not be perfect at. You know what I mean? I said that as I painted wood for the 19,000th time, right? Yeah, that's me. Okay, now I'm gonna go right up against that mountain line in the back. Here I'm using the primary blue, and I'm going up against that mountain line because now you could leave like some white space in between your water and your mountain line because I'm gonna put a water line in anyway, which is gonna be white. But since I didn't do it to begin with, I'm putting the darker blue up against my mountain line. It's going to do a couple things. Number one, it's going to create more depth. It's going to make it look like for some reason that water is going back further up into that against that mountain line. That's going to be the first thing it does. The second thing it does is going to add a saturated color there so that I'm able to go in with one of those wonderful gel pens I just received. Now, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, I'm literally putting a strip of darker blue up under any of the areas where I put that lighter blue to create a shadow under that particular wave. around some of them, on the side of some of them, but I am keeping them relevant to each other. And then sometimes I'll just throw in an extra one because I felt like it, or I felt like that area of the water may have needed it. Good night, B. Oh, night. I wonder where were you? I should have asked where you were. Did anybody know where B was? It's time to sleep. Be elsewhere in the world. Now I picked up way too much blue that time. That's very saturated. And I'm not noticing a huge shift in these paints. So, you know, not a huge shift at all from wet to dry. So that's a great thing. They definitely are holding their saturation. Not a bad first impression of this gouache, if the truth be told. As I said, this is my very first time ever painting with this particular gouache. Now we're going to go in and put shadows in next. We're starting to get to the point where we're going to wrap this up. Okay, that's good enough. That put some movement in the water, and just in case you didn't have a flat, even wash on your water, that just kind of, and then it's around a dock. I would assume that there have been boats that have left the dock. Maybe there are some people out there jet skiing. Now we're not going to see any of it in this picture, but there would be reason for movement and waves in the water, I believe. All right. Shadow. Is that what I was mixing here? I think that's what I was mixing something here. What was I mixing? Oh, more brown. Now you've actually, if you've done this much, you've actually come far enough to stop if you want to. You can call that done. Put you some birds in the sky or something, because that sky is just big and blue for no reason. I've got to figure out what I'm gonna do to that. And I mean, I completely understand if I'm on long and you guys need to run. I completely understand. But I'm going to stay on until I finish this up, until I bring it to some type of make me feel better completion. Now, the more blue I add to that, the cooler of a brown I'm going to get. Alrighty. And then I'm going to put just a touch of black in that as well. Yes, I am one that uses my black and white. I use black and white gouache, black and white watercolor, black and white color pencils, black and white watercolor pencils. I don't discriminate against the black and white media. I know a lot of artists that I don't like using black. Okay, I understand. I find many great uses for it. You're painting fig jam? That sounds interesting. Where'd you get that reference photo from? Here I am increasing the saturation of that brown. Keep in mind we were speaking earlier about how this would be darker because it is wet from soaking up water, especially around the base of it. Even if you didn't want to do like the whole thing for some dimensional aspects. You definitely want to do it across the bottom because the bottom would have soaked up water. Um, and then I'll put some water on my brush and kind of blend the rest of that up like that. So it'll be naturally kind of gradiated a little bit darker on the bottom than on the top part of it. The ones in the back I wasn't too concerned about, but I definitely want to make sure that the detail on the ones that are right here is kind of on the money. Now I haven't had, all right, and then I'll do the same thing on this side where I kind of try to blend it up with some water here. But I like that a lot better. That looks a lot better. Um, we need to put reflections in the water. Now, I'm trying to see exactly how this is done on this picture. I need to take it. We need a shadow color, so I'm gonna mix more black into that brown. This is gonna be the shadow color. Now, what's happening here is that I'm mixing much more black into it. I'm not trying to make it chocolate or brown. I'm really trying to make it black and have the brown tones in it so that the black doesn't seem or come off dead. Using it as a shadow, if that makes any sense. There we go. I think that's pretty nice. And I'm still using it. And believe it or not, this brush is white. That's how thick and nicely coating that gouache is. Okay, trying to see where would you have, like you would have shadow here. I feel like, because I can't really see the shadow in the photo because it's a dusk photo, you know. I feel like it would be shadow here, maybe coming up the side a little bit. Um, the soul and the stakes in cute jars. Are you painting from life or are you painting from a photo? And then let's get some over here. I'm trying to keep my hand parallel, trying to keep this parallel to the horizon so the perspective is right. And I really don't mind if the shadows look a little harsh and hard. I think it makes them stand out. And then we need shadows here. I'm basically just trying to follow the shape of my mountain. You can turn your paper upside down if that makes it easier for you to be able to mimic your shape. And always go for perfection with this. It's not even really about perfection. It's more so about just kind of getting in the feel. And I keep my strokes kind of choppy so it'll still look like, water. Solid and a little bit more solid in this area because maybe you can see that part a little bit better. Doesn't always have to be saying this is nature. So there's definitely going to be plenty of inconsistencies and patterns and strange way things are and a strange way things look. See, I think that's actually a pretty decent shadow color. It's more brown than I'm normally used to, but it works. Do I need maybe just a few strips of shadows in the water here and there? Especially since we're going to have some grass up here. Um, just a few chops here and there. It's shadow. So, I mean, maybe there's something under that ripple or something that's causing that shadow at that point. I have to get too carried away. That's fine. And now I'm going to go in and start adding in some. I'm definitely going to cut this down. So my idea was to have it as big as it is, right? Um, Only thing left is for me to put some of these little tall grasses in here. There's some green grasses. There look to be like some brown grasses kind of in there growing around the dock. And the truth of the matter is, I could put another strip of paint. Well, I really should have done that before I drew the boards all the way across. So what I'll do at this point is I will attempt to put in the grasses. But the truth of the matter is, I really feel like maybe changing the time of day may have taken away from the complexity of this painting because it's so simple. Does that make sense? It's a pretty simple, straightforward painting. So maybe the time of day it was shot enhanced it because looking from here to here, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Okay, let's mix up a color to put on this grass so we can go ahead and wrap this up. I'll try to keep this as quick as possible. So the green that is in this set is called medium green, and that medium green is I'm looking for the pigment number. Let's see. Oh wow, we have PY3, PY4, which is the synthetic form of PY3. Not sure why they're both in there. And then PG7, which is phthalo green, and the phthalo green that's mixed into it is a blue shade. Oh, so it's gonna be blue leaning. All right. Let's grab some of it anyway. I mean, it's our convenience green. It is what it is. So we'll mix some of this out. And I'm just using this brush to mix with. It's not a bad green. It's a pretty clean green, actually. Nice base for mixing stuff into. And I'm going to grab, we're going to stick with the same yellow we've been using so we can keep some consistency and harmony. Mix that in. And I guess a touch of primary blue, since the primary blue is what we've been using. But it's blue shade. Um,
kind of springy. I guess I can go with that. I was going to switch over to the liner brush, but I don't want to lose any paint. So let's see if I can do this, because this brush comes to a really nice point, really, really fine point. So let's see if I can do this. Um, it's a little, what do I want to call it? It's a little weird. It's a little, fake. Um, and that can be the issue with some greens. It's a little fake looking. And of course, you can offset that yourself. You don't have to just deal with the greens looking fake. Trying to make sure I don't. I mean, I pretty much got the big ones. That kind of looks like so. And I'm gonna be going back in mixing, definitely mixing something. I need that on the points, sort of look better, like that. And this one too. Just like to bring my all of my grasses up to a point. You don't have to. Yeah. You got the cheap De La Roni paper in Croatia. I've never. I'm trying to see, have I ever used any of De La Roni's paper? I don't think I've ever used any of their paper. I need to try to order some. Okay, now this side, that side was pretty, sparse with the. This side over here, like, is heavy with the grass, and I don't know if I want to put that much in here. So I'm gonna just do what feels right to me. And if it feels like it needs that much in there, then I'll do it. Guess I feel like it needs that much in there. Cause I did it. I'm doing it. um, that De La Roni paper, I would be interested in trying that. I don't know if I can find it on Amazon. Can you find it on Amazon? But you said you was using um, cheap De La Roni paper. What does that mean? Was it like their graduate line of paper? Okay, more. I'm gonna mix more blue into this. And we're gonna use that as a shade of green to add in. Okay, put some of that over here. It's gonna help make it look fuller. Maybe some of them are taller than others. I don't know. I'm gonna grab black, mix a little black into that next. I'll put a few of those in. going with my whole shoulder. Like my stroke is being pulled from my whole shoulder. I'm moving my shoulder, not my wrist or my hand. I'm actually grabbing a little bit of this black, this darker shadow color that I mixed as well, and throw some of that in. Why not? Help break up some of that green. Um, so I don't really recall seeing any art stores. So I really want to take a trip somewhere, specifically a art trip, you know. That's gonna take some planning, but I call myself trying to do this thing called starting and maintaining a company all by myself. And yeah, it ain't, it don't be wanting to let me go nowhere. Money gets funny, especially when you're trying to release products. I'm just throwing in a little bit more shadow under the grass to make it look, in case some of them look like they're just kind of floating in the air. I want to kind of ground them. All right. Do I want to add shadow anywhere else? I think this is good enough for now. We've been painting way too long. This video, well, we haven't been painting too long. We did more talking than anything. But this is a pretty cool little quick painting. I'm gonna go back here and add a little shadow, kind of hidden and miss across the back of that plank. Okay, now I need to get super dark under here. I do mean super dark. And I'm painting right around my grass blades, but it's why I put them in first. And same thing over her, over her, over her, over here. All right. And I guess you see the same thing back here. Have to keep it consistent. Okay, that works for me. And it's a big old sky. Can't not put a bird or two in there. Because it's a big sky. And of course it's gonna have little guys playing around. Like he's even might be flying upside down or something, yeah. Cause he crazy. A couple of guys back there over the mountain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have to keep it even. Don't want to put any crazy even numbers in here. They're all planned. We need one more. Here. He way back there. You can barely see. He way back over the mountain. That way we'll have an uneven number in the sky. I know. There you have it. It's a nice first run with the gouache. Let me see if I have. See how I'm do this. Now this is a block, which is why I don't have all 4 sides taped down. So it'll be interesting to see. But I will have enough room, thank goodness, to cut. Why can't I keep this straight all of a sudden? To cut down as much as I need to. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And it's just gonna be on the top and the bottom. Again, I didn't really think the way I blocked this paper off through. Here's what it is. Can't change nothing about anything at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and take this tape off here. So yeah, this paper, this block, I don't think came from Temu. I didn't experience any issues with it from the jump. But that smaller pad I paint on all the time. So there's that. Let's take it off the block because it'll look better once it's cut down, or maybe I won't cut it down. Maybe I'll leave it just like it is until I decide to frame it, or more than likely it's gonna end up in one of the sales or one of the giveaways on Palm Street. That's more than likely where it's gonna end up. Let's see. So to remove paper from a block, if you've never done it, you're gonna find the end where there is no glue. Then you're gonna take your palette knife or something flat and blunt. Flat and blunt, not sharp. Lay it up in there, and then you're just gonna remove the page. Now, I still feel like I might crop this more. I'm feeling, because I kind of want to take off the part where we tried to lift. You know what? This is what I'm going to show you guys what I mean by you never give up. You never give up until you get something close to where you want it. You can always keep working. I'm going to see. You can always keep working. I'm going to grab my T-square. And let's do this. Let's lay this down here. And I'm going to hold that down. Where is my black? Okay. Okay. Now, I know you're like, Thrifty, what are you doing? I'm cropping the picture so it looks better. That's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm cropping the picture so it looks better. And I want to keep it straight. I don't want to cut anything I need. All right. There. I feel better about that being that way. And since we don't have black lines on all sides, I'm going to grab my ink pad and ink that side. And ink this side. This is archival ink, so I'm not worried about it at all. And there, I feel better about that overall. A little warping to the paper, but no biggie. Let's grab a pen and sign. And I think that's a brown pen. I need to put that in my liner bag so I don't keep grabbing it. That's a sepia pen. So there you have it, friends. Quick little something. Let's hanging out, chit-chatting, painting together today. When I get off this live, I'm gonna do a few things. Like I'm gonna go ahead and swatch those gouaches. Actually make a swatch sheet for them. Start doing some color mixing, testing with them. Start doing some, although we have seen that they mix really well together. This is actually a really good demo for these paints to see how they work before ever even swatching them out. So when I tell you, I don't know. They seem like they're going to turn out to be a pretty good gouache. I wonder if they're paints or anything with their gouache, because the first impression of those gouache are not bad at all. Now, of course, I need to do a lot more in-depth testing, color mixing, see how they react with other things like salts and all the things, scraping textures with the credit card technique, the end of an aquarelle brush. All that craziness y'all always see me doing when I'm testing the paint or when I'm painting. I kept this one pretty straightforward and simple. We did not try to put in any we did not try to pull any grass up with the credit card scraper. We didn't try to put any of the wood texture in with the credit card or anything. We kept everything that we did in this one with the brush. So that's not bad, considering the fact that all of the techniques in here was done with a brush. It's actually not bad at all. Now what I want to do right before I wrap this up is test out one of these gel pens. Well, I know how they work already. Here's a quick tip for your gel pens, especially when you're buying by the pack. Gel pens, I do not know why, but I feel like after they are manufactured, they all have a conversation and talk about, you know, how they're going to make artists' life like purity crap by not working most of the time. You guys know what I'm talking about. Every single one of us has had probably multiple gel pens that we wanted to throw across the room, because you'll be thinking to yourself, I know this gel pen was just working the last painting I did. I'm looking at it full of ink, and for some reason the ink just won't flow out. The Uniball Signal are the only ones I've never had that issue with. With that said, here's a little tip. When you open a gel pen, do not open your other ones. Leave them closed up, leave them packaged up, and open gel pens as you need them. Because if you open 2 or 3 of them at a time and have them sitting around, they're gonna dry out. Especially if you're using one of the budget brands. I don't know why. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Marianne, what you say, gel pen? Ugh. What's that for, sis? I like my gel pens. All right. So with this here. Okay, what was I finna use this for? I was going to use this gel pen for something. Oh, put in, I know. So I'm gonna go back here along my mountain line, and with light pressure, I'm gonna put in a thin water line. It's gonna be lost and found, hit and miss, not straight and continuous. And that's just to indicate where the water is kind of going up against those waves back there. And you can, if you feel like you don't have enough sparkle in your water, you can hit it with a few streaks of a gel pen, and it'll help add some sparkle to your water. I mean, it is a brighter day than the original picture, so maybe some stuff is shining. You never know. Maybe some sheening going on. Marianne, stop hating on my gel pen. I hear you in your head. Yeah, they stop working. The struggle is so real. So I'm actually gonna put in some white grasses here, so it'll look like maybe there's a highlight on some of those. So I'm literally just gonna pull that pen up through the grass, and I'm not even necessarily trying to hit a grass blade, because I filled it in the way I did. But you want a good gel pen, I'm telling you, this is it. These uniballs are amazing. And they write on anything almost. You see how much more oomph that added? The oomph they added, that oomph, yeah, I like that. All right, let's add a little, what am I trying to say? Sparkle to some areas of the wood that might be getting hit. It makes, and then I don't know. I like a white gel pen. I like what white gouache and a white gel pen will do for your paintings. You know what I mean? It will add some life to your painting. You don't have any. There. I'm good with that. Okay. Now it's done. Now it's done. Yes. Yes, Marianne. Uniball. These are the ones I've had the least amount of trouble with. And as long as I only open one at a time, I have found that I don't have the dry out problem as much as I normally do. But these are made by the Mitsubishi Pencil Company. Now, just in case you didn't know, the Mitsubishi Pencil Company is also the same company that makes Una, see? Una Mitsubishi Pencil, the Uniball Signo pen. Una makes the Posca brand. So Una or Mitsubishi Pencil actually makes Posca pencils. They make the Posca acrylic marker. Anything under the Posca brand, because the factory is Una Mitsubishi Pencil Company. Just a little FYI. So here we have it, friends. Here is the painting that we've done. Let me put the reference photo here so you can see where we took that from for today, in case you want to take a screenshot of the screen because you want to give this a try a little later. Keep in mind that I will be doing edits to this video to take out all of the kind of talking and chitter chatter that we did. So odds are the replay will be much shorter than the original live was once the edits saved to YouTube. And I'm gonna check the comment section real quick to see if there's any questions or anything that I missed. So if you have anything you want me to answer for you right quick, go ahead and get those questions in the comment section, because I'm gonna run through one really good time, and then we're going to be wrapping up and saying goodbye. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry about the mic thing. I don't know. So I changed. I used to have a mic that plugged directly into my phone. As long as I had my 13 Pro Max, which I still think is probably the best iPhone Apple ever made. Well, other than the iPhone 8, the iPhone 8 was an amazing phone too. But I upgraded to an iPhone 16, which has, of course, they don't have the lightning plug anymore. They have the C plug, which made my plug-in mic obsolete. So instead of ordering another mic, I decided to see what would happen if I started trying to use some of my Bluetooth headsets as a mic when I'm live versus I don't know why I'm putting these back in the pack, because I'm really finna wash the sides out of them and paint with them. And of course, you already know that this box will be featured in an upcoming video as a journal. You already know that. What was I saying? I don't know. Thank you, everyone who says the painting is nice or that it looks good. I really appreciate it. Yep, they always stop working halfway through the picture. Absolutely. I don't know what's up with white gel pens. Well, it's cool. I'm glad you learned something new. All right, friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Hopefully, you guys got some type of enjoyment out of this. Like I said, if you are here with us live, go ahead and sprinkle a little love and hit that thumbs up. If you're watching in replay, do the exact same thing. Sprinkle a little love, hit that thumbs up. Keep in mind, sharing is caring, so you can share the video at your leisure. Jump in the comments section if you're watching in replay and let me know what you thought of today's content. Like I said, edits will be coming, so it won't be nearly as long as it was with us being live today. But with that being said, my friends, thank you so very much for joining me. If you want to, do DM me a picture of what you painted today, and I'll be happy to share it with everyone else. And in the meantime, stay tuned for Wednesday's pre-recorded release. And we may actually have a review video of those Posca pencils coming out Friday as well. Keep in mind, we only have one video release a week, and that's on Wednesdays. And if I do another release, it's always a review, and it's typically on a Friday. So I guess I should have just killed 2 release days and 2 days for videos, one Wednesday and then Fridays is needed with reviews, because this sort of how it's going. And we may be looking at the review for those Posca pencils this Friday. It really just depends on how. I have one more thing I need to do to finish the testing phase for those pencils, so we'll see. But other than that, Patreon, I will see you tonight at 8 p.m. in the Creation Station for our regular scheduled Patreon live. You can watch for the link for that live to drop in the Patreon feed in the next hour. So in the meantime, go out, enjoy your day, enjoy your week. Remember, I artsy love you, my friends. And as I tell you at the end of every single video and every single live, just keep creating, my friends.